What's going on, Instagram? Midday here, Friday in Chicago. I'm going to be joined right now by the dental yogis, Dr. Cristian Pavel, my man. Get him on here. And we're going to talk a little bit about stress in the dental office, how to manage it, how to deal with it. There he is.
Hey.
How
How's
you?
it going?
I'm doing great, man. How are you on this Friday? You working hard?
Yes, sir. Well, hardly working.
Nice. So for those of you who don't already know, this is Dr. Cristian Pavel. He's my buddy. We're having so much fun doing projects together. I was able to come over and meet him at his office yesterday, meet his parents, and we've got a lot of messages we want to put out there. And so I'm so excited that we have a chance here at the middle of the day to hook up and have a little talk about stress, which, man, it's part of our life, right, Cristian?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, I just want to thank you for being such a beacon of inspiration. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say this. You lit me up a few months ago when you approached me and said you were inspired by yoga and want to do more. And after just seeing how much of an influence and positive impact you have on our profession, especially changing the way we look at root canals and just making it more accessible for people. And there's so many, I mean, I'm really honored to be in your circle.
Wow. I certainly feel the same way about you. I mean, you've been such a tremendous help for me in my yoga pursuits, and just sort of getting to know you and understanding your mission, which is, spreading the word about wellness and about, the benefits of yoga and meditation, and being such an amazing example of how a dentist can actually be like a yogi. I mean, for those of you, obviously, many of you probably haven't had a chance to take one of Cristian's classes, but I mean, it's just incredible. And most people know you and Danielle from your incredible pictures and your poses in the dental chair. So you guys are really the perfect people to carry this banner, which is to say that, yoga is an incredible opportunity for dentists to get healthy. And it's almost like just take the first step and let the rest of it all happen. So I wanted to really support you in this effort to put the word out, because I've been in dentistry for 16 years. I've suffered a lot physically, and the yoga has been just such a tremendous help. It's just been amazing.
Yeah. And that's our mission, is to make that first step that much easier. I mean, I can't even, this would be a 4-hour long live if I went into what yoga has done for my life and just the impacts it had. But just, now more than ever, the importance of slowing down, of just breathing and being able to let go of our devices, let go of our agenda, let go of our to-dos in order to be more productive, to be that much better at everything we do. And that balance is key. And that's really the main lessons that the practice, and I emphasize practice, of yoga it emulates and perspires, because that's the most important thing I think that we all need, and especially in dentistry. In order to get to dental school, we had to develop a perfectionism of sort.
Yeah.
We hadn't had it before, even to get into dental school, really, which is great. I mean, we want to have the best of the best, and I love that. I think it's beautiful, but it's so easy to get lost in that. And when we throw that into a business environment, things become chaotic. And if we're not aware of how we're feeling or what we're internalizing, it can start to really, really be a detriment to our lives and our lifestyle. And our patients will suffer as a result too. I mean, I think we've all heard that that suicide rate thing. Have you heard that quote?
It's high. It's high for dentists.
Yeah, and I used to get so bothered when people would bring that up, but now I can understand and I can empathize, and I've connected with a lot of practitioners who know someone who has taken their lives, and it definitely got more real, and that's really what catapulted this mission.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
I was going to say that's very powerful. I actually didn't know that piece of your puzzle, and the piece of motivation. I know that for me, I can understand, as you said, they're just dentists tend to suffer just because there's so many demands and we don't typically take a lot of time for ourselves. And one of the things I've become really aware of recently is just how much energy we absorb from other people. And the fact that sometimes you can't distinguish that it's not even your energy that you're carrying. And I find that the yoga and meditation have been a real help with even just like being aware of it, right? Like awareness of it.
Yeah, here's the thing. Stress is insidious. Our bodies have a very exceptional homeostatic capability, meaning that we're able to get everything feeling normal and normalized despite what's going on. And what we tell our bodies, consciously or unconsciously, our bodies respond. Our flight or fight response is designed to keep us alive, right? To keep us aware of predators, to keep us aware of anything that's a danger. But our bodies don't know the difference between real or perceived danger. So if we're training ourselves to activate our flight or fight when our coffee's too hot, or if there's traffic, or if, you know, anything in our daily life it goes wrong, then it becomes chronic. And it's so hard in the moment to realize we're stressed. There's so many moments when I'm on my mat and I'm taking a few deep breaths and suddenly I'm like, whoa, my whole body's so tight. Whoa, I guess I had a much harder day than I allowed myself to admit. And especially for men, because we're told to not, you know, to hold everything in as well. But it's for everyone, because even the way we express our feelings it's another conditioning of rumination versus feeling it, allowing it to feel it, because we tie a story to whatever it is we're feeling, and then we say that, you know, it's because of this and because of that, and we become victims to our surroundings and going.
It's wanting to verify.
Oh, I'm on. I'll call back.
Okay.
I'll call them back. Sorry. Live. This is live dental office action here.
Live fight or flight.
Yeah. So enough stress that I got a call from my credit card about possible fraud. So that just, you know, there's always like layers to the day, you know.
See, I like to every resistance factor like that, which could be scary, I treat it as a gong.
A gong?
Like a gong to remind me to breathe and to slow down. And the more often I can do that, the more often I remember to breathe. I like to say this all the time. The quality of your life is predicated on the quality of your breathing. And it's actually true. I read a stat that the average human uses 2 to 6% of their lung capacity in their lifetime.
Wow.
6%. So we're not breathing. And that is honestly the biggest tool for any practitioner. When you go into a room, see if, first off, notice your breath and notice your patient's breath. If it's stagnant, there's likely going to be resistance coming out of them, either verbally, emotionally, chemically, neurochemically. There will be some form of resistance. And if you can slow their breathing, just their breathing, by leading by example first, it will really, really create such an incredible difference. I can give you an example, even on an unconscious level. I was assisting last week a very, very challenging all-on X case. A patient of mine has a very, very resorbed mandible, very, very high dental anxiety, very high overall anxiety. So I brought her to my surgeon's office, and we put her under, and right away, it was under ketamine and twilight. And right away, her body started to stiffen up. She started to shake. She started to make loud noises. And all the staff started grumbling, going, oh, here we go. This is going to be challenging. Let's strap her down. Let's bring her down. Let's hold her. And it propagated everything. She started shaking more. Heart rate monitor went off the charts. And I felt just called to take my hand and put it on her chest. procedure went so much smoother. But it's so interesting when we carry our own stress into the operatory, it's so easy to overlook these little tiny things that not only will make such an impact on the patient in the moment, but on the rest of your day, on your life as a whole. Like, these little changes have such enormous consequences and positive impacts.
Wow. So even under the effect of the drug, she was able to sort of sense your calmness and your human touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
It was under twilight, so she was still there, just unable to respond. And she said after, she didn't remember much, but she remembered that I was there, and she's like, "Thank you so much for being there. It really helped me calm down and feel more secure," because we have a long-term relationship and a connection, and I've been trying to help her with her anxieties as best I can. It's an ongoing process, though. But the best we can do is lead by example, and that's why I'm so passionate about this pre-huddle yoga flow. The thing we've been doing, because if we start our days with the intention of breathing slowly, and not just ourselves, but our staff too, so we hold ourselves accountable, it creates such a different dynamic and really changes the shape of how our work days flow.
Yeah. So, Christian's mentioning, so he had this brilliant idea of, starting to do more or less just like a bit of a standing yoga routine in the morning huddle. And I've adopted that here at my practice, and we did it this morning, and it's really effective. It's a really wonderful, I don't know that we've had something that we've all done as a team that everyone has enjoyed as much as this morning yoga. And it only takes, 5 minutes. You could do it for longer if you have the time. I put in a couple new moves today, and it's just a really wonderful way to start the day, as you said. And like you said, I think it does sort of set a rhythm for the day. So, do you see this John's Endo, who is coming from Norway? Yeah. Transcendental yoga. Well done, John's Endo. I'm into that.
I love it. And there is something to be said with ketamine, using that for twilight as opposed to because ketamine is actually a psychedelic. And this is a whole nother realm, instead of just a doping agent that just numbs everything. So there is a little more to be said with that, and especially in terms of feeling and hyper feeling. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I appreciate John Zendo sharing that. And on the note of the yoga flow, you just listening to me lead it and break it down for 5 minutes, you took it on and took it to another level instantly. So I would challenge you to take your followers and offer it to them too, and just spread this out and ripple it up, because you have the power already to do that. Teach it, I think. Thanks, brother. Yeah, I've really enjoyed doing it, and practicing here with the staff has been nice, because you can really, teach them about breathing. You can teach them about, sort of feeling their inner body energy and getting a little bit out of the mind. And, we're also mind focused, and, after you do a lot of reading and studying, like there's a great book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now. And if you haven't read it or listened on Audibles, anyone that's watching this, definitely do that, because it just teaches you that you're not this mind identified self. It's just something that our culture has led us to. You can go into your body and just feel the sensations of your body and be present in the moment, because the reality is that that's all we really have, even though we don't think like that. We think we want to control what's going to happen next. Like when we get off this live, Christian, like we have no idea what's going to happen. Hopefully something awesome, something magical, but we don't know. And so it's really a great book for those. But yeah, I love that idea of doing, maybe doing something like that on Instagram, some standing yoga, and how we started doing it with the practices. And you've been my muse for that. Christian, definitely my teacher when it comes to yoga, and I've learned so much from him, and just his energy. If you don't already follow the Dental Yogis, definitely do, because he does some really amazing things, goes on amazing retreats, and quite honestly, your circle, your tribe is so diverse, and it's so fun to like I just love looking at your story on Instagram, because you're always around incredible people. So the fact that me and you are friends makes me feel really good, because I want to be, whatever your tribe is, man, I want to be
want to be close to it because you're the man. So yeah, so let's get back to the stress, because I think, I always, a lot of times I
Oh,
start off yeah, go ahead.
can I interrupt you just
Of
1 second?
course.
I wanna tie everything you said together. And in terms of Eckhart Tolle and his message, was that a bottle of whiskey, by the way?
I wish. Pure Leaf, if you're not already sponsoring me, Pure Leaf Black Iced Tea, but hey, there's always later.
Just looked like a bottle of Jack there.
It kind of did, right?
On the note of stress relief. Okay.
We're here to serve at my endodontic practice, whiskey or not. Good one, man.
Regarding Eckhart Tolle's message about presence and the identification and the notion that we identify with our possessions and we hold on to them dearly, bringing that full circle with our profession, it's just another label. We're in my opinion, we're all just playing this big lavish game of cooperation, right? We've set these rules so that we can all cooperate and collaborate together, but really all we really want to do is be around like-minded, inspiring people. So we set up all these crazy fronts to just do this, to connect. So it could be simplified. And I really appreciate, our relationship started because you saw something in me and you just reached out and connected. Boom, that's all it takes. And I recommend that to anyone because that's how everyone I'm surrounded by, and I'm so grateful to be surrounded by, it started like that. Just a little bit of curiosity and just recognizing that I don't need a special label. I don't need any story to sugarcoat or to cover up. I just need to be curious and learn more about what someone's doing, why they're doing it, and if it feels like an authentic expression of growth, of love, of beauty, I'm all about it. And we're going to connect, whether they like it or not.
I love it. That's the thing, there's a lot of things you can say about social media that are not positive. But there are a lot of amazing things, like the idea that more and more I get inspired by people who are vulnerable on Instagram and who, through social media are willing to express their message. You're certainly one of them. And so I find that it's incredible because you can almost get to know someone better in this way than you would if you were standing in the same room with them, because then all of a sudden some of the social buffers and things happen and you maybe aren't as expressive as you might be, sitting in front of your phone. But that is a true story. I was watching Cristian. I would see him do his classes. He would do some live streams from his yoga classes. And what happened was I realized that we lived in the same city. And I said to myself, I'm going to reach out to him. I just want to get to know him. Like I really want to engage with him because, we're both into education. And that's something that I know Cristian is really, about to reveal a really, in my opinion, revolutionary type of concept of, lecture. And I'll let you get to that. But for me, along with the endodontics, I really want to teach people about personal growth and development because up until about a year ago, I literally didn't even know it existed. I had heard of Tony Robbins, but I didn't really understand that you could, as a dentist, as anyone, really start to grow again and start to explore and get to know yourself and ease some of the hurts and heal and learn how to, enjoy and get the fullest, joy out of your life. Because I think especially as dentists, we are under so much stress. It's such a physical job. It's such a spiritual job. You have to give so much of yourself to do it well and to make people feel comfortable that the little person inside of us, our truest selves, sometimes get all covered up, with these white coats and these scrubs. And for me, I felt like when I dove deep into it, I actually got to, meet myself as just a human being again. And it was a joyous type of revelation. And that's why I'm really on a mission, with the yoga and with the personal growth to say to dentists, hey, we can, you can be an amazing human being. You can be in touch with yourself. We don't have to hide behind these white coats because unfortunately, I think with all of what we put into it, we sort of have to adopt that identity. It just happens naturally. But it can be separated. And that's something, to be honest with you, I'm still working on every day, Cristian, is finding that balance between Brett and Dr. Gilbert, because it's like, it's hard. It's sometimes hard.
Yeah. It's a practice, and
Yeah.
that's absolutely it. That's where the breath and awareness really comes in. Anytime we breathe, it's that gong to remind you to step back and recognize that these are just hats. These are just roles. And ultimately, we're just here to be. And what
Yeah.
being looks like is whatever you want it to look like. And going back to the workshop we're putting together, that's the whole reason behind that is literally because I don't enjoy being in cold, dim conference rooms. And I've always said that there should be another way, and there are, there are many new and hands-on courses are amazing. Those are, in my opinion, the best way to learn any concept and master it, or start your path towards mastering it. But why not learn with our bodies? Why not sit in a yoga studio and do something that's good for you and get dental CE for that? That's the question I asked, and it didn't take very long to put it all together, because that's where my heart was.
Yep. And that's a great point. Like, there's some things that you can pull off. Like, you can have an idea, and I know for myself, I would very easily talk myself out of it very quickly. It might felt like a good idea, but all the barriers and the things that are going to make it that I can't do it. And I haven't done that anymore. Like, if I have a good idea, I go for it, and I commend you, because that's what you've done with this program. And I hope you can maybe just promote it a little bit more as to exactly when it is, what it is. I'm super excited about it. I know that, for those that haven't, and I know many of you probably haven't been in Cristian's presence, like in his element in the yoga studio, it's a powerful experience. Like, when you've been in a lecture with someone who just radiates this energy and power about what they're doing and their belief in it, and their magnetism about it. And that's how Cristian is in the yoga studio. And now combining the dentistry, and bringing dentists together and showing how it can be so beneficial. And the beautiful part is that you can get continuing education in dentistry when you're focusing on more personal growth topics like this. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think that that's something we need to explore more. And so I really commend you for doing that, Cristian, because I think it's going to hopefully be like the beginning of a real trend toward people seeking CE that's more related to them as a human being than maybe their clinical dentistry.
And creating, if there isn't something there, create it. And you led to a really, really important point, which I like to call imposter syndrome, which is going back to Eckhart Tolle. The issue when we identify with things, it's joined with fear, because anytime we identify with something, we idealize it in our minds, and there's a fear that that might not happen. So it's much safer to let that go and just say, oh no, it's not for me. I'm not quite there yet. I like to flip imposter syndrome and ask, who's the real imposter? Is it the voice in your head that's saying that you should play safe, you should play small? Might that be the imposter that's holding you back from your true self, that's big and authentic and real?
Yeah.
And the best example of this is most people, including myself, it's much easier for us to give advice to someone else, to be a part of someone else's cause, because then we're not identifying with it, right? So there's less of that fear. So I know so many people who, and including myself, who've always given so much energy for other people and helping lift them up, and they feel tired, and in the back of their mind, they always wish that they could do something more for themselves and fill themselves up. Well, the only thing stopping you, the only thing that was stopping me, was that voice in my head saying, oh, if you put your name on it, what if you fail? What if people reject you? What if this is not who you really are? What if you're an imposter? And that is the imposter.
Yeah, that's what they call ego. When we learn about ego, at least when I was growing up, ego was sort of like someone who was, egotistical, thought so much of themselves. But really what ego is it's that counter voice in your head that's always, trying to limit you, trying to tell you that, you're not worthy, you're not enough, you're not this, you're not that. And once you become aware of that, like Cristian's saying, you sort of just go against what the ego says. For me, I've done a lot of things over the last year that felt very uncomfortable and scary. And the first couple times you do it, it's almost paralyzing. Can I do it? And then I don't know about you, Cristian, but I've started to become almost addicted to trying to do things that make me uncomfortable, because the feeling on the other side of it is so amazing. Like, you know, they say on the other side of fear is freedom. And I've experienced little tastes of that. And so some of the projects I've done, like even just creating, you know, my educational website, Access Endo, that was an idea I had for years. I couldn't do it. I felt paralyzed. I didn't think I would, I just didn't think I could do it. I didn't have the time. I didn't know how I would pull it off. And you just put it on the shelf. But I've been taking things off the shelf, and I've been saying to myself that life is very precious. Your time is very limited. We have no idea how much time we have. And just like you were saying about living small, I've really tried to live bigger and just go for it. I know you're doing the same thing, and I'm so proud of you for that.
And there's so many other people. I see Stephanie Zeller. Dr. Zeller is also such an amazing, inspiring influence. She actually has a beautiful Instagram TV post about stepping into your truth, which exactly resonates this same message. It's all about, I mean, there's two basic things in life. It's either love or fear. And the more we challenge our fear, the closer we come to unconditional love. And what does unconditional love look like? It is a place where you can just be 100% authentic, at peace. Be yourself without needing to be scared, without needing to question anything. Every form of violence is rooted in fear. The most violent people are the most scared. And they're holding on to something very rigidly or afraid something's being taken away from them. That's what propagates anger deep within us. And obviously there are justifiable, maybe justifiable means for it, but bottom line is, if we just challenge our fears and question them and get more comfortable with being uncomfortable as a practice, which is another direct reflection of yoga. The asana practice is, you know, I'd say as a teacher, my job is to challenge you, and it is your choice to interpret it how you want, but it's your opportunity to train your mind to look at an uncomfortable position, look at an uncomfortable situation in a different light. When you're in an uncomfortable position in a hot, sweaty room, people might be looking at you. You can easily jump to, okay, that's enough. What am I doing tonight? What's on for Netflix? What's, you know, thoughts like that. Or you can breathe and see, okay, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. Maybe I can do a little bit more of that. Maybe I can grow. And this will become more natural when you're in traffic, when you're in other stressful situations, when something goes wrong in your chair. Deep breath. Okay, maybe I don't need to freak out. Maybe this happened for a reason. Maybe this happened for me. One of my deepest mantras is everything is always working. If you can embody that, life becomes so much easier. Meaning that when something goes wrong, the natural reflex is to start going down that rabbit hole of, oh, this happened because of that. Oh, this is terrible. This is going to be, you know, or, oh, this is for me. This is working. This is great. What's the lesson here? Maybe I can't see it right now, but I know it's there. And if you can embody that in the moment, it really will open up more a lesson and solution much faster.
Wow, that's powerful, and I agree. You know, Chris Lee, who's a very famous transformational coach, he always says life is rigged in your favor. You know, so you can't always see why things are happening, but my wife and I, we always have a saying of, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So even though it's not clear why and it's perceived as negative, it's because we label it that way. And I mean, I have things all the time that are happening, and I definitely do go back to my breathing. Just as you said it, you know, it's just a great reminder. You know, I just took a couple of nice deep breaths just as you were talking, and I think there's such a power in a deep breath, and it doesn't even have to be something where you're, you know, it's just letting your diaphragm rise and fall, and just allowing yourself to just really, again, sense your hands. I always go to my hands and feet. I don't know about you, Cristian.
Mm-hmm.
But like I can, if I think about it just for a
Yeah.
split second and I'm aware, I can feel the energy coursing through my hands and my feet. And it's a great reminder of presence, because I can only feel that when I'm being present in that moment. And again, that book, Eckhart Tolle, man, I mean, that book really changed things for me. And I would say anyone watching who hasn't, had a chance to really get to that, the power of now is a really great starting point. I think you'll find the ties to yoga and meditation in there that are very powerful.
On the note of the breath, one of my greatest mentors, Aubrey Marcus, says that breath is the most powerful medicine. It just depends on what dose. Dose. And it's
Nice.
absolutely true. I've experienced a lot of things throughout my life. I've been to the party scene, to all sorts of medicinal type experiences as well. I will be honest about that, but nothing comes even close to what I experienced in holotropic breathing seminars, where all we're doing is just taking deep breaths and going past our resistance. What that opens up is a whole new world. So much. I mean, on the most recent one I did in Sedona, I had no idea that I was holding in so much rage and anger and withholding. And the download that I got from it was that every time I labeled something with a word, and every time I labeled a feeling instinctively, like, oh, I'm just angry, okay, I'll get over it, it put a ceiling on my feeling. And unconsciously, I held something back. And for a while, I've been feeling kind of numb. Not numb, but just haven't been as excited as I used to be. After that seminar, it all came back, because I realized that it was just labeling. It was just words that I've been unconditioned or unconsciously putting within myself. And all it took was some deep breaths to surface all of that. Years and years of slight, very, very subtle repression.
Interesting.
To empathize now, I'm trying to think of, people doing this their entire lives and unknowingly, that's really the definition of ignorance. And I used to look at ignorance as something that's just nefarious, and somebody is just literally evil for being so ignorant, but they don't know any better, right? You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And
true.
I don't know what I don't know, because I'm so ignorant on so many levels. So I can understand that, these concepts are very, very profound and different.
They are. And what like what you were saying, like, you don't know what you don't know. And the reality is a lot of what we do know, we learned unconsciously as kids. These root beliefs that we absorb seeing our parents and our family units and our community units. And some of what you're describing goes directly with that, is that we learn certain root beliefs, things that we just are part of us. And you can unlearn them. You can learn new ones, but you first have to recognize that they're there. And I think sometimes the way that you process the world into rage, or some people process it into joy and laughter, and all of these things are related to your upbringing. And the other thing I wanted to mention, just because you got me thinking about, as you were describing with the breathing, is that breathing is really great, because you may not have the same experience every single time. And I think that's a great microcosm for when you're doing personal growth and you're really pushing yourself to grow. You're really not, someone said, you're talking about what? Sorry. So yes, you happened in on two dentists talking about breathing, yoga, meditation. We're talking about how as dentists, we're also human, and ways that Cristian and I have tried to push ourselves to grow and to enjoy life more and to be healthier. So that's what you walked into, my man. So, but just what I was going to say, Cristian, is that, I find that every day on your journey is going to be different. And I think, like you were talking about labeling things, like some days you're going to have an amazing day and you're going to have all these strides, and other days are going to be full of setbacks. and you're going to feel frustrated. And I think what I've learned is that that's all part of it. Like, we like to think of success as like a straight line, but it's really like twists and turns and dips and rises and falls. And that's a hard lesson to learn. But when I first started on my journey, I would be really disappointed when I felt like things were slipping down, not knowing that would I ever get back up again. It's all part of it.
It's always working.
Yep. It's always working. That's it. That's the mantra, man. I love it. It's always working. That's it. It's all you really need.
Seriously. I love the Eastern view. So the Western view is linear, right? We're always trying to go up, always trying to go higher. The Eastern view sees it as a circle. We're always on a point on a circle. Like have you heard the ancient Chinese proverb of the farmer story?
Mm-mm.
All right, I'm going to summarize it really quick. So there's a farmer who raises horses. And one day his horses run away, and the neighbors are like, oh no, what a travesty. This is terrible. He's like, maybe it's bad, maybe it's good. Who knows? The next day, those horses that ran away came back with a whole nother herd of wild horses. The day after that, his oldest son breaks his leg trying to, tame one of the horses. Neighbors once again go, oh, what a travesty. How are you going to raise the horses by yourself without your oldest son? He's like, I don't know, maybe this is good, maybe this is bad, who knows? The following day, the Chinese army come and recruit every young person in that village for war except for his son. So it go on and on and on, but the moral of the story is that everything's always working if you believe it to be, and we're just on a big circle. You know, we're all gonna die. None of this shit is going to mean anything 100 years from now. We take ourselves way too seriously.
Yeah, that's a good point. I there's a saying that says, when you're upset about something, like whatever's happening, you say, will this matter at my funeral? And if the answer is no, you shouldn't worry about it, because the reality is you're right, man. And I think the older I get, I'm more aware of that. It's just like not to let the time pass, not to waste it, not to doubt yourself. Just go for it. Whatever that looks like for you, just go for it. And if you're going for it, and like you said, I love that it's either love or fear. So, go toward the fear, and I think you'll find more love, because fear is really, it's powerful. It holds us back, and it allows our ego to control us and hold us back. And I know because that's something I've done for a long time. I see some really cool people getting on it. John Ferreira Official, that's my man. If you don't know Cristian, I got to introduce you guys. You guys would really like each other. John's a special guy. You know what, Cristian, man, I could stay here all day, but I got to go do another root canal. So
you're just gonna die.
I know, right? We'll let him wait. Now, how great would it be if the patient was on the live? Like, hey, doc, I heard what you said. Yeah. But no, man, this is so great. I think midday live like this is really great. I saw some amazing people get in there. Stephen Kim Endo, my man. Dan Tran, the Pulpinator, was on there. John Ferreira Official. We had John Endo from Norway, who made a couple good funnies. Transcendental breathing or yoga. So let's do it again, man. Let's get it. And just before we jump off, tell us about your event that you're hosting.
Sure. So it's a 4-hour workshop on using yoga to practice more mindful dentistry. And what I mean by that is exactly what we've been talking about. Slowing things down in order to, ironically, raise your production, because it's going to boost your staff morale. It's going to increase more cohesion, and it's going to make you feel better. Posture awareness, body awareness, stress awareness. We're going to dive really, really deep into stress and end with a 60-minute yoga flow and refreshments from High Vibe Superfood Juicery, which is my favorite place. So it's very selfish. I'm going to be honest. It's everything I really love and want to do. And I'm hoping other people will really enjoy it too. But it's Sunday, November, and CE on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Other thing. Why not? Sunday, November 10th from 1 to 5. Middle of the day. You can get a light brunch before, even big brunch, and then a nice celebratory dinner after. So
beautiful. And this is right in downtown Chicago, right?
Right in downtown Chicago at the studio that you and I did a nice little video too. So the space is beautiful out in the city if you haven't, and just to take care of yourself and get a rewarded dental CE for it.
Definitely. I'll be there. You know, anyone that's going to come, I'll be there supporting my man. I have a post this morning that was a video that Cristian and I made together, sort of discussing our journeys into yoga, the benefits we see in it, and how we really want to tell doctors, tell dentists, tell any type of clinician, you know, anyone that is really focused on their career, you know, like open up and be mindful that you can use time during the day for yourself. And I think if you're really going to go inside, I found that yoga is the best way to do it. And for someone who's super inflexible, you know, in his mid 40s, I picked up yoga and it has really helped me. And so I don't think you can be too old. It doesn't matter what shape you are, you know, it doesn't matter where you're starting from. It doesn't matter what you look like. And that's something that Cristian as a teacher has taught me. It doesn't matter what you look like. No one cares. Doing yoga is about going inside. So it's how you feel. And when you get into that corpse pose at the end and you're laying there relaxed, you really just feel like you've accomplished something amazing. Yeah, it's great. So, but be careful if you go to Cristian for your first class, because he gets you, man. He gets you good.
I told you, I like to bring challenges.
Yes.
And first off, your practice is phenomenal. Not to throw anything off, but you move so freely, and that's the most important thing. I always emphasize, the more you focus on what it looks like, the worse you will be at yoga. If you think there's such a thing as being good at yoga, well, that's what being bad at yoga is.
Interesting. And everyone's body is so different, so we all move differently. And but really, you know, you'll hear Cristian and I, you know, combining forces here to really spread the word. We're going to make some moves. We're going to have people paying attention. And this course that he's offering, are you calling it Namaste?
Namaste.
Namaste, man. So I'll be there, you know, November 10th, city of Chicago. I think it's a no-brainer for anyone in this area. Good excuse to come into Chicago and visit with us and get the benefits of this practice. So I got to head back to work. I'd love to hang out with Cristian all day. We've had some people. I saw Brazil come up. We've had people from all over the United States, all over the world. How amazing is social media when you can use it to really have these types of conversations. And I saw someone right on the bottom along the way, you know, this is a really important conversation to have, because in the dental circles, you're just not hearing a lot of this, but more and more people are starting to come out of the woodwork and admit that, you know, yoga is part of their life. And I think the more people that see that are going to be more open to adopting it. And so kudos to you, Cristian. You're leading the charge, man. And I'm right behind you to support you.
I'm just a mirror reflecting your incredible positivity.
Thank you, brother.
John's Endo, there will surely be some summer courses too. And I think it's only appropriate to close with one deep breath.
Namaste, and see you at Namaste. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. Cristian, I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Talk to you soon, brother.
I see my mom just got on. I'll say hi, Mom, before we say, this is Cristian.
Hi, Mrs. Gilbert. Look forward to meeting you.
You caught us just at the end, Mom. All right, we're out of here. Love everyone. Mwah.
Love
you.
See you, love everyone.
Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the button right here and become part of my inner circle, part of my community. Hit the notifications button, the little bell. You'll get notified the second a new video drops. And join me over here. I have lots of content for you. And don't forget, leave a comment. I love seeing what you have to say. I want to hear from you. I check them every week.